There will now be an opportunity for silent prayer or meditation. Thanks. Please be seated. Honorable members, before we proceed with today's business, I have to announce that the Honorable J.M. Tembu has been appointed Chief Whip of the Majority Party with effect from the 21st March 2016. The first item on the order paper is a motion in the name of the Chief Whip of the Majority Party. The Chief Whip.
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Shibambu, what is your point?
I want to stand before we proceed with anything in this house that you must recuse yourself as a presiding officer today, because the Constitution has found out against you in terms of the court case that the EFF took to the Constitutional Court, that you have violated the Constitution, that you have disregarded the laws of this Parliament, and you are still sitting there. You are not supposed to be, they don't deserve to be in that seat because you are not supposed to be a presiding officer here. Anything that you do is illegal. So I stand to propose concretely that you must step down, and then a different presiding officer takes over that seat so that we can have a rational and fair Parliament today. Can you please step down? Step down, please.
The Chief Whip.
The Deputy Speaker, the Constitution is very clear on any matters with regard to recusal. There is no such in the Constitution. But indeed, the Constitution says that if any party wants to raise any motion against the Speaker, there is a process of raising such a motion. We will then direct the EFF to please not disregard the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Steenhuisen.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to address you in terms of Rule 15, if I may. Madam Speaker, Rule 15 deals with the relief of the Speaker and calls on the Deputy Speaker to take the chair when requested to do so by the Speaker. The Honourable Mthembu, the Chief Whip of the Majority Party, is correct in the point that he's made. However, Madam Speaker, I would like to submit to you today that when Rule 15 is read in conjunction with the Guide to Procedure, and I would like to quote from page 18, if I may, it says here that the Speaker is required to act fairly and impartially and to ensure that the rights of all parties, including minority parties, are protected. In all his or her actions, the Speaker must uphold the dignity and good name of the House. I would like to read that in conjunction with, if I may, in the findings of Judge Ashley Bin Wards in Agang versus Speaker, which was a judgment handed down in October last year. And if I may quote, it says here at 81, there are clear indications in the rules, constitution and court judgments that the Speaker is required to be independent, impartial and fair. The Supreme Court of Appeal in Gauteng Provincial Legislature versus Killian explained that the Speaker should not submit to political pressure. She is required by the duties of her office, to exercise and display, and I quote here, the impartiality of a judge, unquote. This was confirmed in Lekota and another versus Speaker National Assembly. Madam Speaker, I submit, while there is nothing in the rules that compels you to recuse yourself today, I submit, Madam Speaker, that you were the first respondent in the matter that served before the Constitutional Court last week. You are therefore, if I may use the terms, party to the crime that took place. And I would ask you, Madam Speaker, in the interests of restoring the credibility of this Parliament, that you make the decision to invoke Rule 15 and ask the Deputy Speaker to preside over this debate today.
I will continue to allow this exchange, Honourable Chief Whip.
Honourable Speaker, we must speak here. We must speak here. Jackson,
Speaker,
we must speak here.
The judgment from the Constitutional Court is a judgment against the National Assembly. Its findings are on the National Assembly, on all of us, not against the Speaker. Therefore, I would therefore...
Order, honourable members.
I'll therefore urge you, Speaker, to remind these members to read this judgment if they've forgotten what the judgment was about. And also request you, Speaker, to rule that indeed there is no provision in our Constitution that says you must recuse yourself, and therefore continue to preside over this House. Thank you very much.
I see the Honourable Lekota.
I'm speaking here. Again, I don't recognize
Honourable
you.
Malema, please take
you are
a
not
seat.
a credible person to preside over this thing.
Malema, take a seat.
No,
I
but I want to
recognize
speak. I
Honourable
can't be told
Lekota.
by you to sit down. You are not qualified to tell me to sit
Honourable
down.
Malema.
You are not a correct speaker. So
Honourable Malema.
No, Baleka, listen to me.
Honourable
Baleka, listen
Malema.
to me. You are not a speaker here. You don't have a right to sit where you are sitting. You are sitting there illegally. You have violated the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. You don't qualify to sit where you are. And it was you in protection of Zuma. We are discussing Zuma now. We cannot discuss Zuma with you presiding over this matter. You were there. You messed up this case. You want to continue messing it up. So the best thing, you must recuse yourself. We are not asking you to do anything. Let the Deputy Speaker sit there.
Honourable
And this Chief Whip of the ANC says it's Parliament.
Honourable
Parliament, it's
Malema.
you. That's why you called the press conference
Honourable Malema,
to clarify
I have
the
asked you a
Constitutional
number of
Court
times.
to clarify this matter.
Honourable
So you
Malema.
called the press conference. We didn't call a press conference because you know that you are responsible. That's why you called the press conference to respond to Constitutional Court. Why must we be told we are Parliament today? You are Parliament. You must take full responsibility for this mess. So we're asking you peacefully to relieve yourself of that chair and allow the Deputy Chairperson.
Honourable Malema, you are out of order. You are out of order, Honourable Malema, and you do not speak to the chair that way.
Honourable Speaker.
And Honourable Shibambu, I have not recognized you.
On a point of order, can you please recognize me?
No, I am not recognized. I've recognized Honourable Lekota.
Okay, when he finishes, I'm coming back. And by the time I come back, you must be down there.
Honourable Lekota.
Madam Speaker, very sadly, we have to remind each other that the presiding officer is the leader of the legislature. You are a member of the legislature. You are not a member of the executive. Therefore, Therefore, the fact that the legislature has been found to have failed in its duty to hold the executive to account, you, Madam Speaker, and the other presiding officers, no, you, Madam Speaker, and the chair of the Council of Province, you lead the legislature in carrying out its responsibility of monitoring the executive. The court has found that you have failed to lead us in that direction. But the worst thing is that you were part of the respondents in the case before the Concord. You cannot avoid the direct manner in which it attaches to yourself. Please, Madam Speaker, allow for somebody else to preside over these proceedings so that there is a balance, that we can be satisfied that we are fairly presided over. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Likota. I would now like to respond to the points that have been raised. And they are that, at this point, nothing in the Constitution nor in the rules requires me to recuse myself. The judgment makes an order relating to the National Assembly. The order is about the National Assembly. Should the House feel it necessary for anything to be done that is out of the normal way we run things in this House, it will discuss that in the right forum and a proper decision will be taken. At this point, I would like to proceed.
We did not send you to the Constitutional Court to represent Parliament. We did not sit here and take a resolution that you must oppose that particular application in Parliament. If you asked us, if you had the decency to ask us of our opinion, we could have told you we are going to win, and therefore you must suga endleleni so that it can be Jacob delinquent Zuma, so that he can pay back the money that he spent in Nkandla. So you are illegitimate. There is no other way. It's a question of conscience. It's a question of the ruling. It's not a question as well of the rules that we have here. It's that you lack judgment. You're a constitutional illiterate. You can't understand. Even at the press conference, you continued to embarrass everything that we represent in this House. Let somebody competent who has shown competence approach the Speaker at the seat and you step down. You'll come back on other business that is not so important in relation to the removal of the President. We want to remove Zuma today. Please step down. Speaker. It's simple.
Speaker. The Honorable Singh.
Speaker.
I have recognized the Honorable Singh and I would like to prevail on honorable members to raise their hands so that we can recognize them and proceed in an orderly fashion. Honorable Singh.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for recognizing my hand, if nothing else. Honorable Speaker, last week there was a landmark judgment, and whilst you are quite correct that nothing in the Constitution asks you to recuse yourself from that chair and nothing in the rules, but Madam Honorable Speaker, the gravity of that decision against the National Assembly, of which you are the leader, brings into question, and the fact that you are a member of the top 6 that pronounced soon after the judgment brings into question your impartiality, Madam Speaker. And whilst we are not demanding, I think we are making a humble request that in the interest of fairness, that the Deputy Speaker should preside over the sitting when we deal with the motion on the order paper. Thank you.
Honorable members, at the right time, the Deputy Speaker will preside. At this point, I am presiding.
Speaker.
Can you just
Honorable Speaker.
go down, please?
Honorable Kwankwa, I'd like you to take your seat, raise your hand, let me recognize you.
We raised our hand long before the IFP did.
Honorable Kwankwa, please take your seat. I will recognize members who are raising their hands while they are sitting. Honorable Olomisa, I actually recognized you.
Mhlali ngaphambili namalungu abekekulelo alendlu yowiso mthetho apha mama ikhona ingxaki njengomuntu ubuye wawumela lendlu eParliament ungathunywanga sithi wawuyimele court ngoko ke sithi noko uconflicted awunawuze ube ngoku uzawupreside fairly apha kuba umoshile nale press conference buyenzile kanguthunywe ezi party members but ukwazile ukuthi yomela le parliament sithi khawunikeze omnye umuntu asithi ubagodi kumphelo yeze lo xesha kodwa for le kaMsholozi sawuthetha ngayo
Order, honorable members, let Honorable Olomisa speak. Honorable members, please let him speak. Finish off, Honorable Olomisa.
Uyabona ezi marshals zakho ngaphesha pha ziyangcola ugqibile
Honorable Ngakula.
Madam Speaker, honorable members.
I have recognized Honorable, okay. I thought it was that Honorable Ngakula.
He's far from
But I realized it's the other one.
Madam Speaker.
Yes.
I've been having my hand up since I don't know for how long. My point is point of...
Order.
I won't sit down. Madam Speaker, there is no need for us to discuss this matter. I think just put the question to the House, whether people want you to chair the session or not, and we put this matter to a vote, and we proceed with the work of Parliament.
I believe that is a helpful way forward out of this particular matter. Because, honorable members, there's a serious motion before us. There's a serious motion before us. The DA has requested for a debate on a serious motion. And I would like the House to proceed to that debate. And therefore, in order for us to make sure that this particular matter of recusal, of non-recusal, must not delay the House, let us indeed put it to a vote.
On a point of order.
Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker. That's what you did, voting for wrong things even the previous time. You keep on voting for wrong things. You keep on voting for wrong things. Voting kettles, voting for wrong things. You voted for Nkanda report here. It was wrong by court. Stop the voting thing. Listen to superior logic. Stop voting things. Every time you can argue, let's vote, let's vote. Bloody voting kettles.
Honorable Kentani, sit down. You and Nkanda commit. You must sit down. You.
Point of order, Speaker.
Kentani.
Point of order.
That one must sit down.
Order.
That one must sit down.
Order, honorable member.
Nkanda, that one. Must sit down, that one. Kentani, sit down. We are here because of you and Frolik. Sit down there.
My problem, Honorable Kwankwa, is that you are standing. And Honorable Kubisa. Honorable Kwankwa.
Thank you.
Honorable Speaker.
Speaker. No, after you. After me. Honorable Speaker, my request the request I wanted to make earlier is that allow all opposition parties that wish to make an input on this matter to have their say before you respond. If vote, all it's going to do, Madam Speaker, is going to confirm that ni right, ni wrong, or ni njani.
Okay. So do you want to make an input? Honorable Kubisa?
Honorable Speaker, true that there is no section in the constitution of the country that says you must recuse yourself. But you must understand, Honorable Speaker, we are Parliament and our section 55 of the Constitution says you must do oversight. Rule 15 says if you recuse yourself, the Deputy Speaker will take over and this Parliament will proceed. In line with Rule 16 again, there is going to be no lacuna in this Parliament.
The Honorable Mulder.
Honorable Speaker, the proposal that you wanted to put through just now to allow the House to vote whether you should recuse yourself or not is exactly the reason why you should recuse yourself. Because you are wrong, Madam Speaker. The House cannot vote on that. In terms of the rules, the House cannot vote on that. My second problem, Honourable Speaker, is the following. The proposal by the ANC Minister of Defence that the House should vote. When we discussed these things last time, I said if something is wrong, you cannot vote it right. And I was proven correct by the Constitutional Court. You were wrong again. Now you want to use your majority to force this on the House. Why are we saying that you should recuse yourself? The Constitution makes provision for the three tiers of government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. The President is the head of the executive, but you are the head of the legislature in South Africa in terms of the Constitution. You are the head of the legislature. In that sense, you are on the same level as the Deputy President. You cannot sit there today and take instructions from the certain political party called the ANC. You cannot do that. Because today you are not acting as the chairperson of the ANC. You are acting as the head of the legislative branch of the Republic of South Africa. And you have to understand that. And once you understand that, Madam Speaker, it's not about the rules. It's not about any other thing. It's about in terms of what is the right thing to do. And if you're serious about the right thing to do, you know what the Constitutional Court says. And I think from the opposition point of view, we take serious exception if the new chief whip of the ANC tries to put on our agenda the illegal actions by the majority on that side of the House. We are not responsible for that. We have never been responsible for that. The majority of the ANC took those illegal, unconstitutional decisions and brought this House into disrepute. Now, I understand, Madam Speaker, that you are under instructions from your party and its caucus and the Secretary General. You can do that, and you can try to follow that decision, but you will be failing in your position as head of the legislature in South Africa. At least, is there somebody on that side that is prepared to do the honourable, correct thing? Madam Speaker, set the example.
The Honourable Pando.
Madam Speaker.
Order. Order.
Madam Speaker, on this side of the House, we are ready to proceed with the debate on the motion that is on the order paper. It is clear some parties are not ready. They know the direction in which the decision will go. Madam Speaker, I agree with the Honourable Mapisa Ngrakula. Let's move to finalize this matter. But added to that, I would ask that you study Hansard with respect to Rule 61 and the references that were made to you by your name, by members of this House. In that regard, I would appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, Indeed, there's a precedent before of us finalizing a matter such as this one, where there was no agreement in the House, by indeed voting on the spot. However, we are processing exactly that issue in order that we can take it forward and get on to the motion on the order paper.
Madam
Because,
Speaker,
honorable members, the DA asked that the National Assembly be allowed to debate this motion, and we have agreed to that. And that's all that we want to do, is to get to the issue of this motion. Now, I don't understand these obstacles that are being put before us. Honorable Steenhuisen.
Madam Speaker, I come back to the beginning. I raised a point of order in terms of Rule 15. Madam Speaker, I would really compel you not to go down this route of pushing it to a vote. The Guide to Procedure says very clearly that you need to uphold the dignity and good name of the House and to act in a way that is fair and impartial to ensure that the rights of all parties. What you are going to do by forcing this situation to a vote is entrench a partisan result, which will prove in the breach the exact point that the opposition is making today. Madam Speaker, I would suggest that you make a ruling in this matter, provide this House with a ruling, bearing in mind what the court said in the... I don't know if you're listening to me, Madam Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Steenhuisen, I did listen to you.
I'm not finished then, if that's the case.
Yes.
In the Lakota case, the court held that the Speaker, although affiliated to a political party, we know what your political party affiliation is required to perform the functions of that office fairly and impartially in the interests, and this is the important part, in the interests of not the African National Congress, the National Assembly and Parliament. Forcing this vote is going to entrench the African National Congress view and their hold on you as the Speaker. Madam Speaker, I've made a simple request. For this debate to proceed, and we want it to proceed, it must proceed on an even pitch. Madam Speaker, the judgment of the Constitutional Court has shown very clearly that you are not an unbiased umpire in this matter. You were named, your role as a Speaker was the first respondent. You are accountable for what this House what this House says and does before the judiciary. That is why you were cited as a respondent. And that is the point. It's a simple matter. It's not anything against you personally. It's that your position as the first respondent in the matter we're going to discuss has fatally compromised your ability to preside in an impartial manner over it. And that's the only reason that we are asking you, Madam Speaker, to invoke Rule 15 out of your own volition for the dignity of Parliament and step down so that the Deputy Speaker can preside over this section of the debate.
Honourable members, I have a request. I've received a request in order to allow for some consultation with myself as well as for the whips to consult, to suspend for 10 minutes the proceedings of the House.
Wena mkhongi nalo message loya mkhongi wena peace
Siyabuya Julius siyovota uthanda noma ungathandi Julius siyabuya
All right, so we can see some of the members of Parliament leaving the National Assembly there after it's been decided that they should take a 10-minute recess.
Amend the